Welcome into the live stream here from McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. It's Neal, Tyler. You know us by now, hopefully.
What it is.
How you is?
Man, I do have to put some preface on this podcast for anybody in the live stream before we start the audio file that if I start throwing shit or start fist pumping over here, I'm still engaged in the conversation. It's just Tiger has either birdied or hit one in the shit, one or the other.
All right.
2:04 tee time. That puts us at about 5 minutes. We're getting our last putts on the putting green, ready to go. Wearing all blue today.
Oh, blue.
All blue.
All blue.
White hat. I thought about coming dressed up in my Sunday Tiger today with my red and my black slacks and just to mess with you, but I didn't.
That would be funny.
It's freaking awesome, man.
That would be good. I'm pulling up the stream here so I can see because I've got...
You got screens galore.
Yeah, we got stuff going on. Got stuff happening today. It's been a busy day.
Busy day.
Busy day in the Clark Ford studios.
That's it. I hate that I missed your show this morning. I've literally been talking for about 6 hours straight now, so this ought to be fun. I need a beer today. That's what I need. I need a drink. Walker's asking, while you're getting that set up, Walker's asking, how did I come out betting SEC hoops last night? Not very good. As I told you, I lost the two I bet on, and the two that I would chickened out of, I would have actually won. So I was 0 for 2 last night, down 2 units.
You called me and said, what do you think about Alabama, Tennessee? And I said, I just would not do it.
You tried to talk me out of it, dude.
You said Tennessee's out a couple starters. And I said, I know, Tyler. I had this gut feeling that Tennessee was going to play this very proud basketball game.
And I was with you until I told you I found out the guys were out. My guy at Mach 10 Sports, Dave Shoemake, had some info that those two guys were out. So didn't matter. If you can't if the ball, I don't know if you know this or not, but if the orange ball doesn't go through the orange hoop, it's very difficult to win basketball games.
I cover a team that tries not to put it in that hoop, and they lose a lot.
Oh, leave my guy alone, man. Don't pick on my guy. I love me some Kermit.
Well, I mean, it's not about Kermit. He's not out there shooting.
I know.
He recruited the guys to go out there and shoot.
You know what low-key pissed me off, though? I was watching NC State and who were they playing? Syracuse the other night. And Joyner just out there filling the shit up, triple-double. Just got to piss you off.
Kind of playing free?
Just pissing you off.
Kind of playing free?
Triple-double.
Almost playing like if he makes a mistake, he's not going to get yanked.
It is what it is. I do want to reiterate, I am not an Ole Miss football fan, but I am a Kermit Davis and Mike Bianco fan.
Yeah, I know you are.
I pull for them.
All right, so Jon Sumrall's going to join us about a half an hour. Hopefully, that's the plan.
It's all going to work, man.
Hey, listen.
It's all going to work.
You don't believe me when I tell you this? If it doesn't, we'll just scramble and figure it out.
We'll figure it out. I do believe you. We've scrambled. Look, the worst shape we've ever been on this show, which is probably a good thing that we were both already drinking, but was when we went to South and did the show.
Yeah.
That was scrambling. We'll get it figured out. I got faith.
Well, that was me and Cole scrambling.
Yeah, I was just drinking beer while y'all were trying to figure it out. I wasn't going to help you. I mean, the only thing I could help the cause is to
you
drink
kept
beer.
saying, why can't y'all do this? Do this. We were like, hey, why don't you leave the room for a few minutes?
Crack open your beer. Shut up.
We were about to say, how good a fighter are you?
We're going to find out. Y'all were both pissed. That was great. And I think I drank 4 beers before the show started that day. Like from when I sat down in the chair to when we actually got on camera, I think I was 4 in.
Yeah.
I was crushing them. It's a fun night.
It was. That was an interesting day. All right, we'll get rolling.
Let's roll.
Welcome into another edition of McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. I'm Neal McCready. That is Tyler Siskey, spraying rain all over the Clark Ford studios. Troy coach Jon Sumrall is going to join us about a half hour or so. That's the plan anyway. So we'll talk to him about the Trojan season and a lot of other things as well. Thanks to everybody for being in the stream with us. Tyler, what's going on with you?
So, Neal, I found it. I know our good friend Bob's listening. I have found the new flavor of rain located in Oxford, Mississippi at the Kroger. They had a whole row of it, so it's probably not there today, but it was yesterday. Tropical storm. Somebody tweeted at me, and forgive me, I can't remember who it was, tweeted at me and said, and I saw it. I didn't know it was out yet. I'd seen the bar tag in the Kroger. They just hadn't got it yet. the new flavor has a little Sprite taste to it. Do you taste the Sprite in there? Or is that just me?
Sprite. I don't taste Sprite.
I do. Let's get your review. What do you got? What are you tasting? Citrusy Sprite.
Citrusy, but not Sprite. Citrusy. Hawaiian Punch.
Okay, I can go with that. I don't know. Maybe it's just the.
It's Hawaiian Punch with a little more citrus.
Bob, this is going right to the top of.
It's good.
It's going right to the top. It's one's
smooth.
Yes, this one's going right up in the cherry limeade Red Dragon category for your boy. This is fisting to go into the rotation. I might have to bump. This might get a little bit more play with me than Gummy Bear.
Yeah, this is ahead of Gummy Bear right now for me. Now, when you start talking about cherry limeade, and then you get into the rarefied air of Red Dragon,
like is Red Dragon the Michael Jordans of Rain?
Red Dragon's the Kobe Bryant of Rain.
Okay, what's cherry limeade?
LeBron.
LeBron cannot represent Rain. I refuse to allow that to happen.
Okay, Magic and Bird.
Okay, good. LeBron does not exist.
Magic Johnson, Larry Bird.
LeBron,
where you can make an argument.
LeBron drinks Celsius. That's who LeBron is.
Oh, okay.
Let him go.
That's his deal.
Where you at? What we got?
It's way up there. I think, and I'll have to continue to see if it. But first taste. What's Portnoy say? One bite, everybody knows the rules, and then he takes 6 bites.
Yeah.
I think it's right behind Red Dragon, but ahead of cherry limeade.
Oh, I like it, dude.
Yep,
this is right up there. I just want to let everybody know again.
Look like a heartbeat monitor.
What's that?
Connor says, like the shirt, Neal. Tyler, yours looks like a heartbeat monitor.
Yeah, this is. Hey, you know what's crazy is I don't give a shit what I wear as long as it's free. I don't buy anything clothes-wise.
Really?
Like nothing. Now I will do this. If I need clothes, I'll go just buy a shit ton of it right before I go on vacation or something. Instead of packing, I'll go buy new shit and put it in there. But besides that, my wife, this is a Crown and Ivy shirt.
Mm-hmm.
I like Crown and Ivy shirts.
Okay.
And so the wife picked this out for me. And you know what? If she likes it, I'm wearing the shit out of it. She likes it.
That's good.
Yeah. It does look like, I was going with tie-dye, but now that you said it was a heartbeat monitor.
It does kind of look like a heartbeat
That's
monitor.
very...
it looks like an Adobe Audition file.
Yeah. It's my sound going on. All right. We got to have a moment of silence here.
All right.
Quiet, please. Tiger is teeing off. Quiet, please. This goes on, my man Connor made this for me again. Fun fact, when I was at Ole Miss, I had that glass office upstairs, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He laminated me because they know when Tiger was playing, don't come bother me. I'm working, but it's up there. I don't need other shit. So they would ask me what time Tiger tees off today. I'd say, all right, today's 2:04. They know they got to about 2:00 to wear me out. Whatever you got at 2:00, don't bother me because I'll watch film, but I'll have it up and I'm in my deal. I'll throw shit and they'll look at me like I'm crazy because it was glass they could see out there. But I would put this sign that said, do not disturb, Tiger's playing. And I put it, big sign like this, on my door.
Just think if you spent all that time and more efficiently and like done a N'Kobe Dean fundraiser, who knows where everything would be today?
I plead the fifth, Your Honor. I plead the fifth. We're not going there. I got too many friends that are still coaching. I'm not going there today, boss. Not going there today.
A GoFundMe.
Yeah.
A GoFund linebackers.
Yeah, NCAA, turn this pod off now, please.
GoFundLinebackers.com.
So I would put this thing on my door. So when we got fired, the last thing I did when I left is I didn't take this. Went downstairs in the janitor's closet and got a ladder, and I climbed to the top of like 20-foot ceilings. I climbed to the very, very top of it, and I stuck it up there like with permanent stuff where they couldn't take it off, and it was up there for like months after I left. They had to see it. So Tiger was represented well in my
That's
office.
good.
Yeah, you got to do it. All right, brief. We'll touch on a couple things before we get Jon in here.
Real quick, let's tell the people about Rain.
Can we do that? Yeah.
Rain Total Body Fuel, 300 milligrams, natural caffeine, BCAAs, electrolytes, zero sugar. It's got what you need to push the limits and achieve your goals. Check them out on Instagram at Rain Body Fuel to learn more.
Did you see this court case, the NCAA court case?
Yeah, I read Michael McCann's story in Sportico. I guess it was last night. I read it I think I read it after all the basketball games. I was trying to kind of get myself to unwind a little bit before I went to sleep. There were some really good games on.
It was a good night. As it pertains to the court case, I felt a little clickbaitish. Like I got taken advantage of a little bit with a clickbait.
Okay.
I felt like I was logging. I was clicking and starting to read an article like I'm about to read. The NCAA is in front of the Supreme Court. We're making this decision. That's how I read it. Then I open it up, and it's like some slappy 3rd District Court of Appeals court in some freaking random town in another case that has nothing to do with the shit. And it was like, oh, the judges are laughing at the NCAA, talking about pay, that they're basically, the court case is that this is how late they are to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The whole court case is because they're saying, oh, we're employees. We should be paid like minimum wage employees. If I was the NCAA, I'd say, check, sounds good, because they're not getting paid like minimum wage employees right now.
Yeah, but now they argued that NIL is totally separate of that. And they actually kind of the problem is the precedent setting here.
But it eliminates collectives, though, right? You see what I'm saying?
But did it?
No, but I'm saying if they agreed with that and they made everybody minimum wage employees, okay, that would be a much cheaper for the collectives to come up with that money.
No, see, they were saying that they were saying that they should be dual employees. They should be employees of the NCAA and also employees of the institution at which they play.
Right. But what I was saying is like, all right, so what the collective is having to raise to pay running backs $800,000, to pay quarterbacks this, they could take that money and pay everybody like there he goes, fucking hits in the trees.
Yeah, but they were saying that the collectives are separate from the schools, that the schools have to pay them, and that the collectives is a separate deal. That's up to the individual athlete or the collective or whatever. That's not a. It's all stupid because nobody will stop. It's the common sense thing, and you know me. You've known me long enough to know, especially now that we've done this show, almost 60 shows together.
How about that?
The lack of common sense thing is a real
problem.
Bugs me in anything, right? Yeah. In anything, it's like my pet peeve. I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't make sense. Well, yeah, but that's how we do it. But why? And anyway, nobody will say, hey, look, here's the deal. The kids are getting paid. They wanted to get paid. Now they're getting paid. They get education. They get a scholarship, which is value.
All day long.
Ask me. I have a bank account where I have University of Arkansas comes out on the 18th, 8 months a year.
That's fun.
I know that there's value. In fact, I can put a value on it. I can give you a number on what a college education is worth. And I have to go into with one of them that now lives in a sorority house. I go. That's lodging. I've paid room and board. I've done all the things. Right. Books. There is value.
What does a book cost these days? I mean, like books for their semester. Out of curiosity, because that used to be a pain in the ass.
Caroline had to get one recently that was like $225.
Do they do any virtual stuff now instead of real books?
No. I mean, there's some stuff, but they still have to buy. You still have to buy the materials. Yeah. It's expensive. So college has value,
right?
And now if you make everybody an employee, every athlete, at some point, what you're going to do is you're going to force two things to happen. This is and I'm pro player,
yeah,
but at some point, the smaller schools, my alma mater, Louisiana Monroe, is going to say, hell to hell with it, shut it down. We're out.
Yep.
We're out. And that's not just going to affect football. That's going to affect so many other young people that this is the only way they get to go to college.
That's it.
This is it.
Neal McCready for NCAA president.
This is the only way that so many kids who are on track scholarships, tennis scholarships, I don't know, I'm drawing blank, women's basketball scholarships,
Rifle,
softball. This is the only way that those kids can afford to go to college.
Yep.
And when you strip those opportunities, you are impacting lives. So if at the bigger schools, they're going to start going, okay, so here's what we're going to do. What do we make money in? We make money in football. What else do we make money in, Bob? We don't make money in anything else, Jim. All right, well, then I tell you what, let's kill every other men's sport not named football. Okay, now, where does that put our numbers on Title IX? Well, Bob, that lets us kill 5 women's sports. All right, Jim, let's pick the 5. Now, do the math on that.
Yeah.
How many lives are impacted when you do it? So it's frankly, it's why, and I'm not defending the NCAA, but it is in fairness to the NCAA why they never budged. They never budged because they knew that if they ever gave an inch, the other side would try to take 17,406 miles. And when they got that far, they'd try to take another mile.
Yep.
And that is precisely what has happened. And it is why, seriously, not to get on a soapbox, but it is why when people do the Second Amendment argument, when they do anything, like you saw it with COVID.
Yep.
If I give you an inch, you're going to keep going. You don't want to compromise. You want to control.
And I'm glad you said that, because that's where my frustration comes in a little bit. Is and there was, the whole article was about how the judges were basically making a mockery and laughing at the NCAA in their argument.
Yep.
And they're going to make a decision, right, or whatever they decide to do. But the whole point is they don't think common sense like that because they've never worked in it. They've never broken a huddle or whatever they've ever done.
Well, they don't really understand.
They don't understand what's going on, and they're about to make a final, by God, this is the decision we're going with. Wait a minute. They don't understand that it's going to kill people's hopes and dreams of paying for college and going to college. They don't understand that shit. And it just pisses me off. That's how we're making rules and regulations when it goes to sport and court.
If you make it a business, people are going to run it like a business.
Yeah. That's just, I don't get it, man.
And if you're running a business, frankly, a lot of these places, you close it down. And if you're running a business at some of the bigger places, you're going to change the business model.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you can't change that.
So if you're going to make all the volleyball players employees, I don't know what the wage is. I mean, if you're going to give them a minimum wage or whatever the rule is, the schools are going to turn around and go, okay, that's X more dollars. We got to cut something.
Yeah.
The money isn't magic. And everybody can go, well, you can fire staff.
Yeah.
You can eliminate staff. And you probably should eliminate staff. You can do that in a lot of places. You know what happens when you start eliminating staff? Everybody raises hell about that.
Yep.
When you tell all the coaches, hey, you don't need 20 analysts.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
When you tell the coaches when they come in, I know you say you need the new locker room. No.
Do you know how, speaking of that right there, do you know how easy it is for me? Not easy. It's all relative, but what I do when I demo a product or I go to sell my service to a university, a new staff, boy, they get whatever the hell they want.
Mm-hmm.
That, like last year in particular, I haven't gone through it this time this year, but
honeymoon.
There were some coaches that were on their last leg. Dude, they wasn't buying anything. They wasn't buying those guys anything.
No, it's honeymoons.
They were doing everything. The behind the scenes is so interesting how if the administration is behind you, they'll give you all the resources you need to be successful. If they're looking for a way out, they will basically, and the fans have no idea. They'll cut you freaking, you go from taking, hey, we got this Wheels Up account, or, here it's, what's the local, Nicholas Air.
Yeah.
Can't do that anymore. You got to go fly commercial. Everybody's like, oh, well, suck it up. You're flying commercial. Well, there's efficiency with it, right? Also, as well as like, you can go see, it's awesome when you can go get in a plane and you can go see 5 kids anywhere in the country in one day with a head coach, or if you're flying commercial, you're going to get to see one kid. And so they start just taking it away.
Yeah.
And then, all of a sudden the university plane is not available today. It's got to go to Kansas and pick up a painting. Whatever. Hey, that university plane's been busy for a lot of crazy reasons before when they're not behind you. It's all of a sudden it makes things a little bit more difficult. So,
when you're in trouble.
Oh yeah, dude. I know when I go to spend money, it's like when I was at at Alabama, I could get anything I wanted. Didn't have to ask anybody that was under $99,999. Didn't have that freedom when I came to Ole Miss. If I needed anything over $9.99, I had to get about 4 signatures on it. So makes things easy. What city we got over here today?
I think that's Seattle. That's the Space Needle, right?
No,
in the distance.
That's Raghav Gupta.
No, that's the name of the photographer.
Welcome to Alabama.
Have you ever heard of Raghav Gupta as a city?
No, I was just throwing it out there. I just want to let everybody know that my man Tiger's got about 4 foot for birdie here on hole number 1.
That's good.
I'm keeping track, if you can't tell. And all blue. He's got the blue hat on today. Blue for business.
Yeah. Well, I hope he does well.
Are you have any interest watching? Will you watch one snap of XFL football this weekend?
No.
Not one. You didn't watch our good friend AJ play Sunday afternoon on ABC?
AJ
McCarron was on our show.
Oh. I thought AJ Brown immediately.
That's
Sorry.
okay.
I mean, I guess if I'm flipping and I see him, maybe, but no, I have no real interest in that. I'm a seasoned guy.
I am too, big time. I will watch him play because of I've known him since he was freaking 13 years old.
Very good friends too.
I'll watch him play. I'm interested to see. I will tell you this though. I'm interested to see how the TV works out this year.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, I think NASCAR. This is when NASCAR starts, right? So you got Daytona 500. NASCAR's losing interest, and so they're also, if you notice how they're on TV, they're not on Fox. I mean, they'll be on Sunday, but the other races used to garner that Saturday attention and get that. Now they're on FS1.
Mm-hmm.
And so now there's this vacuum. So the games, they're ABC, FX. They're going to play a full slate Saturday and Sunday this week, and there's actually going to be a Thursday night game next week.
They'll get numbers.
I'm interested to see what they are.
We have a country that's addicted to football.
I'm interested to see what they are. I think the quality of product has to be good, though.
It does. Otherwise, people check out after a couple weeks.
Even hardcore people like me, that's what I'm looking for is the quality. If it's just, a bunch of dudes out there banging around that are, I won't watch. I'll watch AJ play, but I won't watch the rest of it.
No, I'm the same way. But I'm a seasoned guy. Like now, it's basketball. I'm into basketball. I like it anyway. Now's the time that I'll start with the NBA. I start kind of narrowing my teams that I watch.
Right.
First half of the year, I watch everybody, and then I'll start narrowing it down. Now I'm Boston's on. I'm watching Milwaukee. I'm watching Cleveland, the Cavaliers. I watch them when they play. I'm watching Denver, Memphis, Phoenix. I want to see teams. I want to get to know teams like really well before the playoffs roll around because the playoffs are awesome. And then, the tournament's coming up. Major League Baseball is about to start in about 6 weeks. Pitchers and catchers have reported. Dansby Swanson's already getting the Cubs fitted for rings. I mean, this deal.
If he goes and hits like 400 with 30 bombs, you're just gonna wear my ass out, aren't you?
No, I don't trash talk. I will probably have Dansby Swanson.
No, off the air, you're gonna be sending me shit. I know.
No, I don't.
Yes,
I never
will.
do that.
Yes, you will.
I do not. By the way, speaking of baseball, can rest in peace to Tim McCarver.
He died.
Tim McCarver died today at the age of 81.
I did not know that.
Yep.
Sad.
Tim McCarver, speaking of the Cardinals, great Cardinal.
Yeah.
Philly, Hall of Fame broadcaster.
We're at that age now where guys that we grew up listening to are passing. Like naturally, I guess is probably the right word. Some unnaturally, but it's happening. It seems like it's all the time now.
People who, when we were kids, were larger than life.
Yes.
Raquel Welch died yesterday, for example. Like Raquel Welch was an icon.
By the way, just want to let everybody else know on the stream.
Yep.
Tiger is 1 under through 1 hole.
There you go.
You know what, Neal?
He's back.
You can't birdie him off. You don't birdie the first one.
Well, that is true. That is true. That is true.
Everybody's doubting my guy goes out there and goes low, hole one.
I'd never doubted Tiger.
Isn't that kind of? I mean, I know I'm a fan, and it's probably I feel about Tiger how some of our fans feel like Grind feels about Auburn, and how some of our fans feel about Ole Miss or whatever. We got Georgia fans, whatever, right? Tiger's my guy. Well, I think they put up on the screen wrong before. I can't jinx it. Now they're going to show it again. Hang on, I may have jinxed him. I can't. This will be bad if I talk about all this shit and he freaking lips it out on hole number one. I think it showed his name or somebody else. Anyway, he hit it. No, what was I doubting him for? He hit it.
Yeah, so you're doubting your guy.
But isn't it amazing though? The guy. I mean, think about how many majors. If he goes through like a 10-year drought because of his back and everything else. If he doesn't have, he comes back after the back, wins the Masters. If he doesn't have this leg thing in the car crash, where is he at now? Is he back or is he still a shell of himself? Because he showed that he won 3 tournaments.
I think he's back.
I think he
would have been back because I think he's kind of fixed his life.
Yeah.
Like his personal life obviously derailed him for a while.
It's just, as great as he is, we basically missed a decade of his prime.
For sure.
I mean, that's crazy to think of.
Yeah.
What about this? Will you watch any NASCAR tonight? The dual 125s?
No.
Will you go to a NASCAR race with me if I go?
I told you I would.
But I know you're saying that, but actually, will you? There's a difference between you saying it and actually doing it.
I'll do it. I mean, I'll go. I'll go to a NASCAR race.
You'll be so drunk you won't know the difference anyway. It'll be fun.
Okay.
We just can't tell Laura. Just tell Laura that we're going to do a show or something. That's all you. We'll go see Rich Rod, and then sneak over the race.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a good time, man. It's a good time. Gotta get you country music. We'll get you a good concert.
I
Saturday
typically will keep an eye on the Daytona 500, and if it gets really close at the end, and they're not,
it's going to be close.
But if they're not having wreck after wreck after wreck after wreck,
it's the best part.
See, you admitted the part. I don't like the wrecks.
Why?
Because I'm afraid someone's going to get killed.
All right, true story, dead true story. Took some coaches. Took some. Somebody said the road to Talladega. We'll go XFL lines from our road to Talladega.
No.
You have to wear. Hey,
no.
Look, XFL lines, the road to Talladega, and whoever loses can wear no shirt, Daisy Dukes, and cowboy boots.
No.
No. Hey,
no.
No sunscreen.
No.
And a Dale Jr. cutoff shirt. Or Dale Sr. Trucker hat. No, but I want to say this was 2009. For years, we would take the staffs that I went on would go.
I'm too drunk to taste this chicken.
For years, we would go on we would take coaches to go to Talladega, and a bunch of guys had never been. And I remember we had a bunch of tickets in one area around the start-finish line. And Kevin Peoples, who is now the defensive line coach at where's he at now? He's at Missouri, the defensive line coach at Missouri.
Okay.
We were all together at Arkansas State, and we go, and him and his wife, Rebecca, were sitting, I don't know, about 2 sections down. We had 2 tickets for there, right? Well, that was the race that Carl Edwards' car gets flipped into the stands, and it was in his section. And, like, stuff came off. I mean, it was a bad deal. Catch fence caught the car, but, like, a tire went in there. And, I mean, and there were people, like, legitly hurt. And it was, 10 rows in front of him. He was up about 25 rows. Dude, it sprayed, and we had no idea because we were there, so you don't know what's going on. And that was freaking intense. When you see a wreck up close, like being there, you're in it. You know what I mean? Like you can feel the heat off the car, smell. I mean, it's the adrenaline that you get. I mean, it's different than watching on TV for sure.
You're not talking me into it.
Hey, by the way, when we get John in here in just a few minutes, if you guys got questions in the stream, just if you don't mind tagging my name so I can see them, we'll try to ask him a couple of questions from you guys in the stream when he gets on here.
Our next partner is Athletic Greens. I take AG1 by Athletic Greens literally every day. I gave AG1 a try because I wanted better gut health, sustained energy, immune system support, and I hate taking pills. I take AG1 every afternoon to break my fast. I love knowing I'm doing something good for my body, giving my body the nutrition it craves, and covering my nutritional bases. covering my nutritional basis for the day. Literally couldn't be easier, which is why I trust AG1. I mix 1 small scoop of AG1 with water and drink it each afternoon. Done. Also like that it costs less than $3 a day. Pretty good. If you ask me, it's a really effective daily habit with the highest quality sourced ingredients. It's a win-win. If a comprehensive solution is what you need for your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. So go to athleticgreens/MPW. That's athleticgreens/MPW.
I had a buddy of mine call me last night, and he was listening to the podcast, and he said that he says, "Yeah, I heard y'all talking about Athletic Greens on the podcast the other day." He goes, he's been using them for like a year, I think.
Yep.
He goes, he loves them every day. Says it's changed everything for him. So
Yeah,
he was talking good about it.
It's a good part of a routine.
Good part.
Yep.
All right. Before we get Jon in here, and I'm gonna brag on him when he gets in here. I'll keep an eye out so when he shows up. Jon is one of my really, really good friends in this business. I had to recruit against him. I'll get him to tell some stories, but we've told it before on my other show. He was on my other show. We had to recruit it. You know, I used to pretty much do what I wanted to do in Alabama recruiting. And then this guy named Jon Sumrall showed up. I had to pack my goddamn lunch now. Sumrall was, he would get after it. He's one of the best recruiters in the business, actually recruiting some guys. We've been through some battles on the same team, and then against each other. But dude, you're talking about relentless, just phenomenal recruiter. I don't know how many there are out there better than Jon, if there is any. I mean, he's one of the best, if not the best, actual go recruit a kid in the business, which is why he's having success rebuilding that roster so fast. And all that stuff. So I'm excited to get him on here. He is a everyday guy, and I know you got a chance to meet him while he was here.
Yep.
But just truly one of the best. I mean, he's a great coach, obviously, but just truly one of the best individuals in the business that's out there.
Yeah, he was terrific. You could tell. That was the thing about that staff. It wasn't together for a very long period of time, but it was a really good staff.
Oh, we had a great staff.
Just the timing wasn't good. Simple as that.
He just texted me, said he's running a couple minutes behind.
Okay, that's fine.
But he's en route.
That's fine. I was worried more about it being on my end.
I'm going to have him just click the button when he's click the button.
Austin wants to know, he says, "Hey, Tyler, because you and me are the only ones here that care, who are you pulling for to win the Daytona 500?
Oh, we're going to have, it's not going to be just me and you, Austin. We're going to have this whole stream, including Neal being a NASCAR fan. Probably in the 500. I'm going to low-key pull for Jimmy Johnson. He's making a comeback. He's coming back to NASCAR.
He is old.
Yeah, well, he got out. He retired. He's not that old. He's my age.
I just got through seeing him. He welcomed Zach Taylor into the NFL Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's not that old. He's like 46, 47. Come on, dude.
I'm
He's
kidding.
younger than us.
I'm making a Jimmy Johnson joke.
But that Jimmy Johnson, I'm lost. Hello, over my head. But yeah, right over my head. I'm sitting here. So you get me when I start texting people.
Yeah,
I lose focus sometimes. So I was texting Jon.
It's all that CTE.
Yeah, dude. It's low key gotten bad. Jimmy Johnson, he's a team owner now. He's going to run some limited races. So he's running the 84 car, not the 48 car. And he's going to run. He qualified last night. He'll run tonight at 125. It's pulling for him. He mentioned Kurt Busch. He retired. Ran the monster car, by the way. But Kurt Busch I used to not like him until I had a personal experience with him. I think he's a great dude. Saw what he did. I kind of got, there's not really anybody I dislike. I play fantasy NASCAR, so it's week to week. I pull for different people. I don't really have a driver per se that I'm like, go win it. Every year. I like Ross Chastain. He's fun. The Watermelon Man. If they have a gimmick, I like Kyle Busch.
Okay.
Kyle Busch does not give a shit what you think about him, and he goes and wins. I like him, so I like them all.
I like Tommy Prater. He's my guy.
The Moose.
The Moose.
You know, Tommy played for us at I coached Tommy, or I coached his son.
Yeah.
Thomas,
Thomas.
who ran for a while, and we would go watch him. He ran the ARCA race, and we got to go to his pit box and all that stuff during the race. When I was at St. Paul's, he played for me.
You ever heard his dad Tommy tell the story of the day that Dale Earnhardt Sr. died?
I have not.
He was basically there. I mean, he literally saw them working on him.
I'm looking. You're good.
He said, but he said, the Hans device.
Yeah.
That came as a result of that.
Yeah.
Thomas was in a terrible wreck that had he not had the Hans device on, he would not have lived.
Well, it changed NASCAR.
It saved so many lives.
It's the whole reason they started the new car they're in now.
Right.
They've been trying to do it for years. They're trying to make it safer. I mean, dude, they get in some wrecks now. They walk away. Like Ryan Newman got in a wreck a couple years ago.
I remember that one thinking, there's no way anybody's walking out of that.
They do such a good job with that. And I tell you, the one I was talking about in 2009 when Carl Edwards went up on the fence and everything else, he got out of the car and ran across the finish line like, Ricky Bobby, like Talladega Nights, because it just came out, It's amazing when they're going 200 miles an hour at a foot and a half apart. I mean, you just wiggle the wrong way, you're taking out everybody. It's really impressive. What's really more impressive, I'm not going to say the driver's name, okay? I'm not going to say this is the last NASCAR talk. I'm sorry, guys. Right. I'm not going to say the driver's name. So we had Talladega figured out, man. So my good buddy Greg Montgomery, he owns Cooper Chevrolet in Anniston, okay? So he does all of the cars and stuff for the drivers and stuff while they're in town, courtesy cars, all that stuff. So he would he was in charge of the tickets. I would handle the golf at the country club. They'd let us go golf. And AJ McCarron would go with us. And his granddad's brought the RVs. And he took care of the VIP stuff, like backstage passes and stuff. Well, AJ becomes, as he goes in the NFL, he becomes friends with a lot of these drivers. And AJ would drive in these iRacing leagues with these guys. All right. So he gets to know the drivers. There was a particular driver that was hanging out with us. He's no longer, I'll put it like this, he's no longer driving, but he's in the broadcasting booth.
Okay.
Was freaking shit-faced at 3 a.m. in the morning. On Friday night when qualifying was on Saturday morning. He had to get up at 8 o'clock and go qualify his car for the race. And they were like, hey, dude, don't you need, I'm talking about can't talk. I mean, I'm talking about laid out in the RV floor, like passed out. I mean, at 3 a.m. And he was like, oh, I'll be fine. He goes, this stuff's easy. He says, all I got to do is qualify the car at the speedways is just freaking put it to the floor and hug the yellow line. That's all you have to do is know, like, they were talking about how easy it was. I said, but you're going 200 miles an hour. Yeah. And dude, he went out there and qualified his car like 8th. Hammered.
It's crazy.
But it was amazing to see how much of them got after it. Like before they got in the car and drove to it. Like, could you be hungover driving?
No.
Like,
no.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to be off a little bit, right?
Yeah, a lot.
Would you do it?
No.
Like, I legitly want to do it. Like,
you want to get drunk and then go 200 miles an hour around a track?
No. I want to go drive. And I don't want to be drunk doing it. I just want to go do it. I swear to you, I think I could drive. I could race cars. Swear to you, I'd be fine at it.
Like on the track by yourself, or with
when I did
the other
iRacing,
cars?
Like legit. When I did iRacing, and AJ had the setup simulator deal, there were like real NASCAR drivers in there. I didn't finish last. I finished like 8th.
Yeah, but you weren't really on the track.
But it's a simulator. It's what they use now for practice. It's legit.
Yeah. I
mean, they had to drive the same setups. I got somebody set up a car. But right. I didn't finish last. Okay. I swear I could do it.
Okay.
I mean, all you do is you put the foot to the floorboard and draft behind somebody. It's not that hard. Just draft, man.
Okay.
If you wrecked, it'd be one thing. So I got it called up in case he texts me.
That's fine. That's fine. No rush. We're all good.
All right. While we're waiting on that, Tiger just missed another birdie putt. It's okay. Tiger.
He's one under.
He's one under, tied for 27th after 2 holes. Let's talk a little bit. Because I got a comment. A lot of people liked our basketball talk the other day.
Okay.
I have to admit, though, when it comes to basketball, I'm a fan. Okay. I'm not. You probably know more about it, the inner workings of it, than I do. And I know there's a lot of discussion here. I made the joke. Did you tell the joke this morning what I sent you last night about my drinking game I was going to play today?
Oh, no.
I said I sent Neal a text last night that said every time that the name Chris Beard was mentioned in the thread or the in the stream, I was going to take a drink, and I would be drunk by the time that he said Clark Ford Studios.
Yeah. Who was your first Zoom this morning? You can't say what team. But you had a new one.
I had a Zoom at 10.
Yeah, you would have not made it to the Zoom.
Yeah, had a Zoom at 10. I got done at 11:53. I had a Zoom at 12. Got done at 1:30. Got in the car and came over here. I've talked for a lot today.
Your day and my day are very similar. Tonight's going to be one of those nights where Laura's going to be like, "You're being really quiet," and I'm going to say, "I just don't want to talk."
We added 2 new teams today, though.
That's good.
Yeah, it was a good day. So it's been a good day.
Adding to the empire,
step by step, brick by brick.
That's what you got. You can't get to 70 schools until you get to 68 and 69.
That's it. Step by step. So,
you went to Chris Beard.
Yes, Chris Beard and Will Wade and all that discussion is like, and I did get about 5 minutes of your show before I got to the office this morning. I like how you start early on Thursdays. Here's my thing with basketball, man. And I've said this, I'm going to get criticized. This is a fan perspective. This is not a coach perspective.
Okay.
How much does coaching really matter in basketball? Because I watch basketball.
I mean, it matters.
But hear me out, though, right?
It's players.
This is how I feel about basketball, okay? You're going to miss the shot. You're going to rebound. Most teams will try to push it up the court. If they can get a free basket, they're going to get a free basket. But most of the time, they don't. Then they're going to set it up. They're going to run some kind of weave, and they're going to try to get it to their guy. He's going to get out there. He's going to call up the center or the power forward to come up there. And they're going to run some kind of pick and roll scheme. And he's either going to drive and dunk, drive and lay it up. He's going to hit the center on pick and roll, or he's going to kick it out to the wing for somebody to shoot a three. It's like literally watching the same in the college game. It's literally like watching the same exact team play over and over again because everybody's gotten out of, not everybody, most teams are getting more out of zone defense because of all the three-point shooting and everything else. Everybody's going man-to-man. So it feels like a lot of parts, especially in the SEC, I'm watching the same exact game with different players every single night. That's how I feel as a fan. Again, ignorant, but that's how I feel.
I mean, that's watered down, or that's the word I'm looking for. It's concentrated a little too much. I mean, nobody's reinventing the wheel out there. But look, it's about players. But there is, like, I watched Buzz Williams. I thought it was a big moment in the A&M game last night. The end of the first half, they're down 12. They're getting ready to go in at the half down 12 with Arkansas having all the momentum.
Right.
And he drew up a really strong inbound play to get a three, and the kid he put the kid in to take that shot. Big bucket for them, and they had momentum the rest of the game. I mean, I think coaching does matter, but look, it's about players. It's about anything else, right? I mean, it's about players. We talk about this in football all the time. I mean, Nick Saban's and Kirby Smarts of the world will tell you it's about players. But it's coaching matters.
Yeah, and
the way that you work rotations, the way that you work your bench, the way that you manage foul trouble, decisions that you have to make when a guy has 2 fouls, 4 minutes to go in the half. Do you run the risk? How do you manage a guy with 3 fouls? Like, I thought in that game last night, I thought Musselman mismanaged a guy with 4 fouls, and they lost him a little early. I thought that was important. So there's stuff.
So here's my question for you, and that's why I'm glad you said that, because that's kind of my point is, like, is it really about getting the right X's and O's coach? Or can you not hire the guy, your assistants? There's got to be good assistants to do that. And you go get a guy that can go get freaking dudes.
Yeah, no, I want a head coach that can go get dudes.
Like, that's kind of got to be priority one, right?
I got to have a head coach that can get me players.
You know, I don't know, man. I just think obviously I think there's going to be probably going to be a coaching search here, I would imagine.
Yes, in 3 weeks.
And I just, regardless of what happens, that's kind of the mode you got to go, right?
I think so. I think Ole Miss has to hire a coach who can 2 things. I said this morning. I'll be quick with it.
Oh, you're good.
They've now had 4 seasons in a row where they've either been losing to the point that it's irrelevant, or you had COVID, the COVID year where people weren't allowed to go to the games.
Had a good team that year too, right?
Had a pretty good team that year. That was bad luck. So you've had 4 years where there's been no real reason / ability for fans to get engaged.
Right.
4 years. You're going to have to get somebody in, whoever that is, who can get fans excited. Because the odds are you're not going to be a great team next year. So you've got to get somebody in who's going to get fans to come. It can't be somebody where they're like, well, I'm not going to the games until we start winning. Okay, well, what if you don't start winning? That's the problem, I think, if you go do the mid-major thing, like everybody does.
Is that our guy?
All right, we'll see. Let's see if this works out. We'll finish my basketball conversation later.
That. If my guy shows up. Somebody's clicking on it.
Yeah.
He's not there yet, but we can talk till he gets there. Look at he's adding to his collection over there. Oh, look at there.
You're there.
Oh, look at there. Look at you.
I hate to say that it might work, but it might actually work.
We'll just talk until he shows up because I know what he's doing right now. So he's he probably got somebody go in there and click on it while he's on the phone.
So what I was saying was I think it's important for them. No, there he is.
Oh, you're live, dude. You're live.
Can you hear us, John?
Can't hear you.
I don't think his audio's connected.
Hang on. Let it connect your audio.
You got me now.
Yeah, there you are.
I'm sure this is going to come as a major shock to y'all, but I'm not technically that gifted.
Join the club.
Yeah.
Troy, Jon Sumrall with us here on the show. Really appreciate you spending some time with us. This is the first time we've set up this little interview thing. You think you were worried about it? You should have. I told you in the email I was petrified that this would not work, and our boy over here would be like, "I don't understand why it's so hard.
Well,
I don't get it."
Not only y'all are also pretty bold and brave to include me on anything that's completely live and unfiltered and uncensored.
Well, I say fuck about 14 times, so you're good.
Well,
there you go.
Well, but your employer is not going to be able to fire you for that. Mine probably could. You know?
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, if I have a problem, they can always call the HR department. So he's in the back left office in my building if they got a problem.
Correct.
How about this? I gotta do my favorite intro of all time. This man right here is the 2022 Sun Belt Coach of the Year. And in my phone, I have relabeled him in my phone instead of Jon Sumrall. He is labeled, he's going to laugh because I've sent this to him before. He is Jon Sumrall, motherfucking 2022 Coach of the Year. That's what it's in my phone. So when he calls me, that's what I see. This is my dude, my Trojans head football coach. How about that intro, Jon Sumrall?
Well, I'm pulling it up on my phone just so I could share with you. I have Tyler Siskey I'm not going to show your
phone number, knucklehead.
Yeah, but it says recruiting guru.
Okay. So
all right. The guru of all recruiting is what your title is. But yeah, it was a heck of a year. I thought we had a chance to be pretty good in regards to like just playing competitive football. If somebody had said, "Are y'all going to win 12 games this year?" I'd have been like, "No chance." You know, like not because to go from 5-7 to 12-2, I would never want to project that on not only our team but myself. So it was a good one.
I want to ask you a question about that, okay? And before we get to having fun like me and you always do. So you started out the year, you were 1-1, and you go to App State. Here we go, game 3. And obviously, I'm watching every game. You know, I got Kane. I know it's your rival, but I watch all you guys play every snap. And you have probably, we've been a part of some rough ones together, but you had probably one of the most heartbreaking. You're winning the game. You get walked off on a Hail Mary against App. Okay, you start the season at 1-2, and what I wanted to ask you about is how much of getting off the mat that next week. Okay, you play Marshall the next week, and you get a dub versus a very hot Marshall team.
Marshall was good.
Yeah, and how much
they just beat Notre Dame.
Yeah,
yeah.
How much did getting off the mat, that resiliency, being a new coach, establishing your culture, which is obviously very important. How much did that kind of propel you through winning 11 straight games after that Hail Mary?
Yeah, it was significant. You know, the culture here, I think, grew within our team. I think our connectivity and just our care about each other and our cohesion within our locker room player to player, coach to coach, and then player to coach, coach to player, I think had really grown through the spring, the summer, all the stuff you go through. I think we had done a really nice job of emphasizing that. But I think that you never really know how guys are going to respond until they have to respond. And here our 4 core values in our program are attitude, toughness, discipline, and love. In our program, we talk about attitude, meaning not every day's purple skies and butterflies and skipping through the field, but it's just when bad stuff happens, have a good response. And I share with our team all the time the video of Jocko Willink, the good video. And when the Jaguars brought that up, a couple of the guys that play for the Jaguars played at Kentucky, and one of them sent me the video because they know I love it. And we showed it to our team, and we started the App State game off our first offensive drive with a pick, backed up in our own territory. And on the headset and on our sideline, you could hear our whole team going, good, good, good. And so we approach bad things with a good mindset. Like, crap happens, it's going to happen. Good. How do I respond? And then the other thing I share with our guys in the locker room after that game, because, man, my heart broke for those guys, man. I didn't like it, but I've been a part of a lot of really cool wins and a lot of really crappy losses. That's part of what you do as a coach. But my heart broke for our kids because they had done so many things the right way that we had asked of them. And they had real growth, and I wanted the tangible result of a win for them to show the growth. I told them I'm never okay with losing. I got a 9-year-old son, as you know, and if I play him in horse in the driveway, I'm kicking his butt every time. I don't take it easy on him. But I share with our team too, though, even though losing is never okay, I said, I've seen real growth within this team. How do I know that? Well, App State came to Troy, Alabama in 2021, the 11th game, and the score was 45-7. And we went to App State the third game of the very next year, 5 games later, and for 59 minutes and 58 seconds, we played pretty solid football. We played one really crappy play at the end of the game. And I told the whole team, if you want to blame somebody, or your parents want to blame somebody, or the media wants to blame somebody, just tell them it's my fault. It's my fault. Coach screwed it up. Coach did
from the front.
Coach told us to tip the ball to the other team and let them score. But I told them, the next thing I told them was, right after that, I said, but if I catch anybody in our entire operation moping around the building next week, you will be immediately dismissed. I ain't got time. There's some people that got real problems in life. Losing a game on a Hail Mary sucks. It ain't cancer. All right? Some people are doing some real, that ain't that. That's just, we lost the game in a crappy way. And the very next thing I told them in our team meeting on Monday was, we played Marshall next week. This is one of the greatest team meetings I've had as a head coach. I'm in the team meeting that Monday before we start practice. I said, hey, look, if we play Marshall this week, if I see anybody wearing green in this building, I will pinch you harder than you've ever been pinched on St. Patrick's Day. It's going to hurt. I'm going to pinch and twist and pull and everything. And we got one of our student assistants, an awesome kid named Hall. He's in the back of the team meeting room wearing a green polo pullover. And in the meeting room, he just starts peeling it off. And everybody looks back and just starts dying laughing. But, it sucked, but I was so proud of our kids' response. I think it really did sort of steer the season.
So you win that next game against Marshall, then you guys kind of just get on this roll. And I remember talking to you in Mobile before the game against South Alabama, which was one hell of a football game, by the way, which is going to lead to a question I'll ask you about in a minute. But you were commenting. I said, I wouldn't have believed how good you guys were going to be when I saw you in the opener in Oxford, because it was first game. It was hot. It was weird. First games were weird. And you made the comment, yeah, we couldn't even line up right. And
hell, we couldn't break the huddle and get the line of scrimmage. I mean, we sucked. We looked like a bad Pop Warner team.
But midway through the season, you didn't. Midway through the season, you guys looked like a team that, outside of Georgia and a few other programs, nobody would want to see you guys, right? On a Saturday. Were you surprised that the improvement came as quickly as it came for you guys over the course of 6 weeks?
No, I wasn't. And to be quite honest, and I kid around, but that game one was we lost 28-10 at Ole Miss, and I felt like we lost 70-0. I was it just was a total train wreck. in every phase other than our punter. Our punter punted the ball really good that day. Everything else stunk.
Hey, you covered though.
We
knew that or not, but I'll let you know you covered the spread. I may or may not have known that to be a
well, trust me. I'm not paying that close attention. Yeah. Good teams win, great teams cover, right?
Don't say that. Do not say that. The NCAA may or may not be watching this podcast.
Yeah, they can watch it. They're not monitoring guys getting paid millions of dollars. So they're monitoring me, knowing what the point spread is. But no, I'm not surprised we got better. I think we were really bad in game one, and it was like it looked bad at times. Game one, I think we set the tone for we're not going to back down anybody, and we're going to play hard and we're going to play tough. I don't know if we're going to play good yet. I didn't know that we were going to be that good, as early as we were. But any team I'm a part of, if we don't play hard, there will be a fight, and I might start it. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to play hard.
That league is really good. I mean, there's a bunch of good teams in that league. Like that night, that was as physical a football game in person, and I was down on the field, and both teams. I mean, both defenses were super physical. It was every yard was difficult to come by, as you probably well know, and a bunch of that in the Sun Belt. How we talked about it before the season, like, hey, this is an underrated league. It's just, but that league's legit.
Having coached in the SEC and played in the SEC, it is like SEC-ish. I mean, from that standpoint, in regards to every week's physical game, every week you got good coaches. I mean, top to bottom in our league, you walk in and you're like, anybody can beat anybody every week. And that game's a great example of them. But every week I go into it, I'm like, if we can just find a way to win this game, I'll be really happy, because this is not going to be easy. Like, there are no easy wins. And the parity is pretty real. I mean, I think there are teams that, always are going to have a little more talent, a little less talent, whatever. Like, but everybody's got some players that, man, if you don't know where they are, they'll expose you. And the league top to bottom, it's different. Siskey coached at Ark State and South, and I coached at Troy before, and I was here at Troy 15-17, and Siskey, you were at South.
I was at South, yeah.
Roughly, and then prior to that, obviously, you were at Arkansas State. But back then, the league didn't have the same teams it's got now. I mean, now it's a different juggernaut. I mean, you've got the App States of the world, obviously, are good. Georgia Southern's good. Georgia State's improved. Marshall's good. Southern Miss has got great tradition. South Owls improved a ton. Lafayette, they got like an SEC-looking roster. Like, we walked out to play Louisiana Lafayette last year. I'm like, hang on, did LSU's team show up over here, or did Louisiana Lafayette's team show up? Like, there's just dudes. And Ark State's had, obviously, great runs. And the league is just – it's James Madison. We played James Madison next year. I'm sitting there going like, what? Like,
I watched mine in the conference office.
Well, no. This year our draw from the other side was App and Marshall, and I was like, that's a tough one. And now it's like, oh, you get JMU next year. I'm like, hang on,
congratulations!
Like, this is awesome. Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you a question. I asked a question about this as a friend, but I think it's good for other fans to understand this. Is you're 1 year in now? Okay, you've been a head coach for 1 year. What's the hardest thing after being 1 year in? What's the hardest or most difficult thing that you've had to deal with being a head coach that nobody told you about? Because there's no head coaching football manual that you get that tells you how to be a head coach. What's kind of the hardest thing that you wasn't expecting in the job, and after being in it 1 year?
I think probably the thing that you expect, but you don't fully understand, is the hardest thing. And what it is as a position coach, as a coordinator, whatever it may be, you're connected to everybody in the organization, but you're really responsible for a smaller sect of the team, right?
Right.
And I think as a head coach, it's, man, your coaches, the staff, the support staff, all of the players' well-being, not just in football, but off the field, academic, social, spiritual, character. Like there's a couple hundred people that affect our program daily. Players, coaches, support staff, administrative people. Anything that happens in one of their lives, I feel like it's a part of my life. I mean, they're connected to me, right? And so I think it's just the sheer amount of stuff you take on that you care about your people and that are involved in your program and organization. If you care about them the right way, their lives become a part of your life. And walking through that stuff with that many people, it's like, whoa, like that's a lot. It can be a lot. And it's got zero to do with football. It's a lot of the times. And so that's probably the thing I think but you don't know how time consuming and demanding it's going to be. And then, so that's one. And then the other that I would gladly just give up completely is having to worry about a budget. Like, you and I have talked about this.
I may or may not know about those headaches that you have on that one.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that on a podcast, but it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and when you're in the SEC, it's like, oh, we're going to spend $100,000 to do this. Nobody even asks why or what you're doing. Or here, it's like, hey, I need $10 to take this guy to lunch. And it's like, hey, where are you going to lunch?
Work.
Yeah. Is that a Subway or so you feel like you have to be more conscientious. Now we're blessed here. Our chancellor, Dr. Jack Hawkins, is a rock star, man. He's been here for 34, 35 years now. This place would be nothing like it is if it was not for his leadership and what they've done to grow our program. I mean, you've seen where it's come from the 90s to now. I mean, just in that time, 30 years is amazing. And so
it's insane.
There's a ton of positive growth. Naturally, all humans, we always want it to be better and more, and let's go further. But I've never really thought as much about budgets. I've never thought about my personal family budget. Like I just coach
and go. You have a degree in finance, though. I mean, people need to know that. Do you run your checking account at the house, or does Jenny do all that?
I run nothing at my house. Nothing. I don't. That includes the checking account. I don't run the dishwasher or the washing machine either. I don't know how to run. Usually I go home and I'm like, Jenny, where are the forks? Hey, Jenny, where do I get a plate? Jenny, where's the peanut butter? Like, I don't know where anything is, Miles.
I get in trouble for this all the time. This is another thing of coaching. I need to ask you this. So hopefully you are like this, but I get in trouble. I can't ever remember my address. Do you have a problem remember your address?
I got that on lock. The two things I'm dealing with. So my address it's 4 numbers, the same 4 numbers as my address in Kentucky, but scrambled. So I'm like,
oh, okay. Now that
totally jacked me up. And then our street, also the street, it has its name, but then it is Street Road because it's street going one way and it's Street Road going the other way, which is really confusing to me. But going back to Jenny, she's out of town for the night, and I have all 4 kids tonight, which is going to be a complete mess. If she returns and the house has not been set on fire, a minor miracle has occurred.
What's the go-to meal when it's just you and the 4 kids and she's not there? Is it pizza? Do you call it pizza, or are you brave enough to try to figure it out?
No, it's well, the first thing I do is I call my mom who lives in Huntsville and I see if she can come help, and then it's usually 3 pretty reliable restaurants here. We got a place called Sips. It's pizza. It's a home mom and pop shop here in town. That's off the chain. The Half Shell is a real dependable, steady, consistent place. Those are a couple, and then the kids love them, so it's easy. But and then the other thing I like to do when she's gone is like maybe call my kids' friends' parents and be like, "Hey, what are y'all doing tonight? You think you got room for this kid?"
That's free babysitters, man.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I think Sam needs a buddy to hang out with. Can y'all take? But Sam's my easy one. It's the girls. I'm like, woo.
Little known fact: hearing about 15 to 20 years, John and I are going to be related. My man,
That's right.
My man Knox.
Noxie and Stella.
Knox and Stella when we were together, we're like frick and frack, man. So we always used to say. So I always joke. I said, "How's my daughter-in-law doing?" So that's he's only said he's 7 years old from the time he can talk. The only girlfriend we asked, So who's your girlfriend? Just messing with him. The only name he's ever brought up is Stella.
There you go.
And then I had to break it to my man Knox that Stella had moved on to a different guy.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have a
maybe it'll be a circuitous route.
We're gonna have an arranged marriage.
She'll work her way back to him.
Yeah, we're gonna have an arranged marriage. I'm gonna control all the recruiting world. John's gonna control the coaching world, and we're gonna have a monopoly on this college football thing. We're gonna have like a organized crime kind of deal.
If Knox, and I would love for that to happen because then we could like go on vacations and hang out. But Noxie, if he does decide to go all in on Stella with long-term relationship, good luck. She is one bad chick. Like she don't play. Like she will straight look at adults and like be like, "Why are you looking at me?" And like and like she questions people like that. She's 6, and she's our driest kid, our most just very direct kid, and she has no problem telling you exactly what she thinks, and she does not care how you feel about it. Like not worried about your feelings.
Hey, what did you get Jenny for Valentine's Day?
Oh yeah. So a couple of things. One, we went on a beach trip that a couple weeks ago. That was part of our Valentine's Day.
I like it.
And we actually have one other trip planned that also happens to be to the beach. It's one of the benefits of being at Troy is we're like 2 hours, 30A. Yeah, I mean it's right here. And then which is like no knock on all the other beaches, but 30A the water, it doesn't get any better.
Pretty nice.
Like I mean, you feel like you're in the Bahamas. You can see your feet in the water. And I didn't get to 2 weeks ago. And then outside of a couple of trips, because we'd rather go do things together than like, here's your gift. Because at this point in life, I'm like, I got more stuff than I need. So I bought her some slippers that I get help with gifts. I already knew she wanted them. So it's not like I didn't have to like go out and hunt them. Her friends helped me.
See, I'm in the sweet spot on this right now because with Laura, I've got Campbell's almost 22, Caroline's almost 20, so they're up on all the styles, everything. I can just say, hey, I need some ideas, and
no doubt,
and they just I went literally. I went shopping the other day, and I just sending them pictures. I'm like, pick one, and they did.
Hey, that's smart.
And it was so good.
That's smart.
So good.
That's where the beauty of being in this town. We got a little shop here. Called Glow. It's a women's store, and like they got everything, like clothes, makeup, jewelry, shoes, all. And I can walk in and just look, like go to the front desk, be like, "Hey, what does Jenny want?" And they're like, "This is exactly what she wanted last time she was in here. She just didn't buy it." I'm like, "Boom, we got it. Let's go."
There you go.
So,
all right. I know you're a big bourbon guy. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And you've been in Kentucky. It's a big thing. I got a question for you because I know you got I've seen it. You've FaceTimed me. I've seen your collection.
Oh, it's real. It's built up pretty good right now.
And you don't have to. You can answer this one of 2 ways. Because after I wrote down the question, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna let him out here. So, what's either the most money that you've ever spent on a bottle of bourbon, or the most expensive bottle of bourbon that you've been given? Because I know boosters and things like that, you get bottles of bourbon.
Yeah, the most expensive or probably the hardest bottle to get that I actually have a couple of at my bar. I've got Weller CYPB, which is create your perfect blend or perfect bourbon. It's like if you try to buy it out in the real world, it's probably like somewhere between $500 and $1,000. I not pay that for it. So
well, I know you're not paying that.
I'm not doing that, but it's pretty good. That and the Weller single barrel. Oh. I like Weller. It's Buffalo Trace product which is owned by Sazerac. Anything at Buffalo Trace, you can't go wrong, man. Everything there is good. Eagle Rare is good. It's like the normal. But I love Blanton's. Blanton's is what
Eagle Rare. You know what sucks about Eagle Rare now? Because it used to be my not secret, but it was my go-to, and you could get it for like $30. And now you can't find it anywhere. And if you do find it, it's like $80, $100. Yep. It took off, It exploded.
And all of it, Eagle Rare has become allocated. Buffalo Trace is now allocated bourbon. So no different than 20 years ago, you could walk into most liquor stores and find Blanton's for $30-something. man, you get a Bob Blanton's, you better hold on. Now I got a little connection, so I get let's just say I got somebody that hooks it up. I got a line, I got a credit line at a liquor store where the bourbon pretty much just gets brought to my house. But no, Weller CYPB, Weller single barrel. I don't own Pappy. I ain't going that high to pay because you got to pay to get Pappy, even if you know people, you still got to pay usually. I did have a guy that's a Kentucky guy come to our first home game last year. My first home game as a head coach. And I had the full flight of Pappy at my bar, and we were drinking Pappy after my first win, which
That's good.
that I got a picture of that whole flight at my bar. Like it was pretty cool.
He's got a hell of a setup at the house. He's FaceTime.
That's legit.
He's got a hell of a
Yeah.
setup.
Most of those guys that get the Kentucky connection after a while,
Yeah.
it becomes a thing.
Yeah, I'm low key jealous.
Like I heard, we're like for Stoops. I don't think Stoops was a big bourbon guy until he got to Kentucky, and all of a sudden he's like really into bourbon and stuff.
Yeah. You know, well, Bob got involved with tequila a few years ago, and then Mark now owns a bourbon company. William Tarr is the company he owns. He bought it, I don't know, a year or two ago fully. He had already been invested in it, but he's got the, like, I got a pretty good setup. He's got like the setup. I mean, it's pretty impressive, his bourbon collection.
Hey, I know you've been really busy and you don't plug in sometimes to the real world that's going on. Have you seen this Aaron Rodgers thing where he's going into complete darkness for 4 days?
I've heard about it. Yes.
Is that something? Could you see yourself, Jon Sumrall, going in complete darkness for 4 days and doing that? Is that something you could do?
I could disappear and like not use my phone somewhere, but I could not like when you say like lights off. That's my question. I heard this. I'm like, is he talking about like he's sitting in a house with no lights on?
Yes.
Yeah, he's like locked in a
toilet
total darkness. Nothing.
Toilet in the middle of the room.
Nope, not doing it.
No.
Nope.
Where would your 4 days disappeared off the planet? No phone. You can have your wife, your kids, whatever, but no, you can't do any work. No work at all. Your phone's not good. Your beach.
Yeah, I'm good with the beach. I'm good with Lake Martin. I'm good with my backyard. Like I got like 5 acres and nobody's really around me per se. And so I'm good at a lot of places, but I don't mind. I'm good at unplugging. I would not be good at sitting in the same structure for 4 days with no lights on.
So I was going to ask you, you talked about you got 200 people in your building. They're all part of your life. They help your program. You've got, I call it the tampering portal, always going on. You got
allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. You got the transfer portal. You got recruiting that always is happening. How often do you get a chance to just unplug for a day?
Yeah, probably not fully ever, really. You know, I mean, I think a lot of it's like what comes up. You know, like we're currently in the search for a new defensive coordinator. That's today.
I wasn't bringing that up. You brought that up. I didn't.
Yeah, it's all right. Hey, it's life. No big deal. Good. Like we got to move on.
Is that out there? Are you breaking news here on the?
No, it's out there. Yeah. No, it's out there. Yeah, it's fully out there. I mean, Pete Thamel's around with it. Everybody's got it. It's good. We're out there.
I was going to break news for us right there, but I wasn't going to say anything. That's why I'm at this show, because I didn't say anything. Look at those. You got those $high lights.
Well, speaking of, I just went into darkness for a minute or two. The lights were out. Yeah. If you don't move in this room for like 15 minutes or something, stand up, you actually go into darkness. But no, I do a good job of when I can putting the phone down, and I try to be pretty present when at home with the kids, whatever, with Jenny. But no, that's the one thing is like there's always something. You know, there's not a day that goes by like, oh, nothing happened today. like there is something every day, and obviously if you're not recruiting every day, then you're dying. You got to recruit every day.
All right, I know discipline players is a big part of, you know, what you have to do as a head coach. So I want to ask you something, just allegedly, hypothetically, if something like this happened, okay?
Yeah.
If your starting quarterback, your starting center, your starting kicker, and a donk wide receiver happen to allegedly borrow the gator or steal the gator, whichever terminology you would like to use, and drive it to the front porch, which is the local bar there in Troy. Have a good time at the bar that night, and then decide to drive it back from the bar to the field house, and then just happen to get pulled over by the Troy Police Department in the gator, intoxicated. And that came to you. Would you kick them off the team, or would you just run them?
Starting quarterback's definitely not getting kicked off the team. The donk wide receiver, I don't know, but no, here's the deal. That like what happened with you, right? And what year was this? 1990.
That would have been the fall of 1999. This happened after the Florida A&M game. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly happened after the first home playoff game. Allegedly, this happened. I don't know if it did happen. Allegedly.
I think statute of limitations.
What was much better about that time is there's no such thing as like Twitter, Instagram, all these other things, TikTok, Snapchat, like whatever, all that. I don't understand half of them, but they didn't exist. And so there was like Coach Blakeney got told, and nobody ever probably would have found out.
Shaughnessy ran the shit out. Like Coach Blakeney found out, obviously. They allegedly may or may not just taken us, got somebody to come take the gator back and then dropped us off at home. And then I was running, or allegedly there was a donk wide receiver that, along with the others, that had to run a lot on the next morning. So
now there would have been some discipline, but look, man, you gotta live, right? Like,
hey,
you're talking about. Like, I'm all for, having constraints, but if everything I did in college, I held like our kids to some standard that was higher than what I was held to, we probably would not have a team. Like, like that. I was a knucklehead, man. Now, I'm very, and you talk about discipline, I'm very simple. We got 3 rules in our football program. Be early, all right, which means for us 10 minutes early to everything. Protect the team, which means like just don't do anything too stupid, all right? And no energy vampires. I don't want anybody whining. I don't want anybody complaining. I don't want any excuses. If you do those 3 things, I'm pretty easy. Like nowhere in there to say like be a saint or have a 3.0 GPA. Like, yeah, that's great, but like our rules are pretty realistic because man, you gotta live a little. You have a good time.
Yeah. So Lawrence Tynes, he figured out that the mailbox key also started the gator. and so I don't know how he did that, but him, LT, and Brock Nutter, which is our starting quarterback, lived. There's a golf. It still is, but there was a full golf course in between the facility and where they lived. Like across the street was a golf course. So we had a little get together at their house that evening, and it was time to go to a little pregame. Decided it was time to go to the bar, and then we walked across the golf course to the facility. And Tony Ferrante, who was the equipment manager at the time, is Tony still there, right? But he's doing something.
Tony's no longer here. He's retired from the University of the State. He's working for like the Myrtle Beach Bowl, and the Camellia Bowl, and he's helping with a couple of these bowl games now.
Well, he recently retired, but he was our equipment manager, and he would park the gator right outside of the facility. And so, dude, we walked across there. We thought it'd be real. I thought we were going to be funny as shit. So we pulled up to the bar in the gator, basically the golf cart that carries all the equipment.
Yeah.
We drove it from the facility to the bar, which is about, I don't know, 3-4 blocks probably, maybe longer.
Yeah, that's a solid mile. I mean,
we drove it and parked it, went inside, closed the bar down, and then decided, well, we got to get this thing back. And so we made it about 2 red lights before. I hope my mom's not listening. I'm not telling my mother listening. She doesn't know the story. And then they graciously took us back, and Shaughnessy, Richard Shaughnessy, was our strength coach. He ran the shit out of us.
Yeah.
To the point we used to have, they still have these hills that go down to the practice field, and he had these telephone poles, and we all had to get on the telephone poles and pick it up as a team and walk it forwards and backwards up and down the hill, which goes all the way. At that time, went all the way around all the practice fields. So. Yeah, we paid the price for it, but it was a shit ton of fun, man.
You're still talking about it.
We had
a
good
fun
time. Yeah, I still remember it. So, Miss Judy Morgan, who is Troy staple, she still remembers that. So I did some things.
Yeah.
She still remembers all my stories. So she's the best.
Yep. Judy is a staple. She's a Troy legend without question.
What I got one question from the fans here I was wanting to ask you in the chat. Austin Blansett said, "Can you please ask Jon what he took from the SEC to help you in the Sun Belt? Did you take anything from coaching in the SEC that has correlated over to coaching in the Sun Belt?"
Yeah, I don't know, like maybe from the SEC, but like the thing I took from, I would probably just say my experience at Kentucky coaching for Stoops was just knowing how to get the work done. Like it takes what it takes, right? But without occupying everybody's time and just drilling people and like becoming overbearing with how much you ask people to do. And so, like, we meet staff wise, we meet every day, but we don't meet very long. Like, we basically meet so everybody knows what the agenda for the day is, and then they're out. And the agenda they kind of already know, but it's just so that we're in rhythm. That was like probably more from a how to run a program standpoint that I learned from Mark. And then I do think football wise, man, there's a lot of correlations between that league and our league. Just maybe, different top end player. Like the SEC obviously has got their top end players. Like wow, like
Right.
But the football, the brand of football is really similar. So there's a lot of parallels that I felt like we learned from my time there. But the biggest thing I took away was from Mark, man, of just respecting people's time. Like I think if you give people more freedom with their time, then they actually, like our kids, they come back to the building a lot and do extra that I don't even ask them to do because I don't monopolize their time when we do have them. I just get the work done and then let them go. And so because of that, we get guys that show up around here. I'm like, what are you doing here? Like, I just want to watch tape on my own. And so I think knowing how to make the environment, the daily pulse of the organization just fun.
You're basically describing creating culture, right? Creating a synergy inside a building, which is really difficult to do. I mean, to me, everything you're just describing, like I know you guys won 12 games and you almost won 13, and I mean you were this close to a New Year's Six bowl, but doing that in year one, building that much culture in year one, that's probably your biggest accomplishment at this point, right?
Without question. I would say we had really good people on the roster when I got the job. Like, had they been winning games? No, maybe not. What did I walk in and like? I think too many times people in general just say, "Well, wait till that coach gets his players or whatever," right? Well, the guys that played on the team last year at Troy, they wore the same logo I wore, right? And so they were my players. Like whether I recruited them, didn't recruit them, they're still my players. And I'm their coach. And so I think just getting connectivity and people that care about each other and to understand that like we're all on the same team. And I talk a lot about like Troy doesn't beat Troy. We protect our team. Nobody crosses us, man. Like I'm telling you, like if somebody like I may not be the most gifted, but if I got to fight unfair to win, I might do it. Like we're going to find a way to win. And
Allegedly.
yeah. So I just think we create a belief system amongst our kids that don't back down anybody, give everything you got every day, and look up at the scoreboard at the end of the day and see did you win. And if you did, awesome. If you didn't, that stinks, but good, move on. Like and so we I think it's hard, but I also I think sometimes it's harder if you overthink it. Back to darkness. It's hard if you overthink it. I think when you go back to making all of your decisions with basically two things on your mind, is this good for our players? Is this good for our staff? My decision-making process gets really, really easy and clean.
How do you approach the portal there?
Yeah, I think you have to embrace it everywhere. The thing I've noticed in the transfer portal, Neal, is that some of the positions that go in, like I've seen offensive linemen go in that were at FCS schools, and I watch him. I'm like, oh, this could be a really good player here, probably. And then he goes to an SEC school, and then he goes there and he's like a backup. He's never going to play. So I think there's a fine line. Certain positions like edge rusher, offensive tackle, DB, certain spots, guys get maybe recruited to levels for depth. And so I think you have to, they get over recruited in some regard. And so I think you have to be aware of what you're able, like, what can you actually get out of it that fits your culture? That's probably the piece that I try to emphasize as much as anything with our staff is like, yeah, we may have a type of player we need within a position, but making sure that guys that we bring in are going to fit our culture, because that's why we won last year in a lot of regards. It wasn't because I'm not taking anything away from our schematics. I think we coached well, or our players. I think we had some talented kids, but we weren't like the most talented team in the history of Group of 5 football. We weren't the best coached, maybe. I'm sure there was better coached, but I think our team believed in each other, and we had a good locker room. And
it was readily apparent in Mobile that night. I mean, you guys were on the same page. Y'all were dialed in. I mean, South was too. It was a hell of a
team. No, they're really good. They're better than I'd like them to be. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was you could see it though. I mean, like, you watch enough football, if you watch sidelines and stuff, in I don't know football the way you guys know football, obviously, at all, even a little bit. But I can watch a sideline after doing this for 20-something years, and I can be like, oh, that team, they don't really like each other. Or this team, man, they're going to go to war. You're going to have to really fight them to win. And you can see that both of those teams were dialed in that night. It was impressive because you don't see that. Even at SEC and stuff, you don't see that week after week after week. You can look on, I mean, I won't name names, almost at Arkansas. There were times when, hey, this team's falling apart. Like, you see players coming off the field and coaches and stuff, people having to almost be separated, and you're like, that's not a good sign.
Yeah, there was violence that game.
There was stuff that happened, and you're like, oh, there's stuff.
The only separating that had to be done on our team last year was me from the officials a couple of times. Other than that, we were all good.
Hey, how many?
You blew a gasket in Oxford that day, man. I mean, the headset that headset didn't make it to the next week.
I don't think it made it to the next series.
Hey, how many headsets did you break this year? Because here's what I noticed. As your friend, I noticed as the season went along, you kind of got a little calmer. Now the scoreboard may have affected that, but you got a little calmer as it went along. How many headsets did you end up breaking last year?
I think only 2. I don't think it wasn't that bad. Okay. And really, what was great is, like, after the Ole Miss game, I'm like, well, I look like a real idiot on my first game as head coach. I lost my marbles, man. Like,
you lost your shit. I'll say it for you.
Yeah.
I do want to compliment you on your language. I've never heard you talk this clean in my life. So this is very difficult for me to interpret. But go ahead.
It can be difficult for me at times too. Trust me. I just spoke with our baseball team. They play their first game tomorrow, and our head baseball coach was like, "Hey, man, can you come talk to our team about toughness?" He's like, "Your team is the toughest team I've ever watched." I'm like, "Yeah." It was not made for the radio or podcast or YouTube or whatever. But so the headsets, I only broke 2, I think. I did get calmer, but the greatest thing was, like, I think it was maybe such a contrast from how it had been around here prior that after the game in my press conference, I was like, I apologize for, losing my mind. I'll handle myself better in the future. My approach is going to hopefully be different. I'll try not to do that again, but I can't guarantee I won't. And then I come out of the locker room and I got, like, Monty Kiffin's there. He's like, "Coach, that was awesome when you lost your," he's like, "Oh." and then like I walk out to the bus and, like, all my team, all the parents were like, "Yeah, Coach, way to fight. Like, that was a way to give them hell." Like, they're all fired up. And I'm like, okay, I guess everybody's cool with me being a nut job on the sideline today. Like, but I felt like, too, looking back on, I mean, when I got the penalty at Ole Miss, they were, like, on the 5-yard line. All right. So we were
2.5 yards.
Yeah, it was like a 2-yard penalty. All right. And so, and 2, I had more of our guys in our team that were here were like, Coach, thanks for showing you're going to fight for us and you care. And I was like, I wasn't really thinking about that at the time. I was just thinking about we ain't taking crap from nobody. Like, because I mean, the call, it got overturned after I lost my mind.
Yeah.
I don't know if I didn't lose my mind, was it going to get overturned? I don't know. Maybe it was, but I was going to make sure it got addressed though. Like they weren't going to not address it on my.
Yeah, you set a tone. You set a tone in week 1. Yeah, I mean, and you're like if guys came up and said that to you, it tells you that it meant something to them. I mean,
yeah,
if the coach is going to fight for them, they'll fight for the coach, right?
That's right.
Hey, I know you've been extremely generous with your time, and I know you got a lot going on, obviously. And first of all, as your friend, you know I love you. You probably wouldn't have done this for anybody else because I know the shit you've been going through last 24 hours. But I want to thank you very much for doing that. I do have one last question I want to ask. When you retire, when you're done with it, okay? Because I'm out. I'm not going back. Can I interview? Can we do a show or do a interview on the Nakobe Dean recruitment? You and I just tell the truth about everything happening. Don't answer it now, but when you retire and everybody, all of our friends are out of the business. Can we do a short story on that?
Two things. Yes, full disclosure, we can do it for sure when I'm retired.
Yeah, you have to.
Or maybe when the NCAA just decides they've totally given up on legislating anything and all. There's no holds barred anymore.
Next week,
Tuesday, right? Tuesday.
Yeah, like next week. Like because that's where we're talking about point spreads. I'm like, they don't. I mean, I don't know. They might penalize you for a kid getting a free cheeseburger, but not for him getting $7 million to go play quarterback somewhere. Like, I'm about to get a pizza. You got a game suspension. Like.
my man, that was a long evening for my good friend Jon Sumrall.
That was a long
on that one. A lot of I won't go too much into it, but the best part about that is we went to what's the pizza joint down here? Lost Pizza.
Yeah.
Lost
and
Pizza.
And John and I, along with Matt, we were doing the no carb thing at the time, trying to lose some weight. And we got pizza bowls. And so I sat in what used to be where the lobby is, where the trophies and stuff were, which is now being renovated down there.
Mm-hmm.
It was a desk down there. Everybody's closed. It's literally me, Matt, and Sumrall, like last 3 people in the building. And I sat with my feet up on my desk playing on my phone while Sumrall paced, because he talks on the phone and walks while he does it. He put in about 20,000 steps he was on the phone for probably 3.5 hours straight. And I just sat in a chair and watched him walk in circles for 3.5 hours. And then when he circled back around from me, he'd give me the O. Or he'd come back around one circle and go. And then and so we'll tell the whole story once the statute of limitations run up.
There was 2 recruitments for me at my time that were like that. That was obviously the Nakobe one was the one that got all the attention. The other one that was like that a little bit was Lakia Henry.
Yes.
And it was us and like Texas and Arkansas were the 3 schools. And
one team, we won't mention the team, but one team may or may not have brought
during a dead period. He was on their
dead period on an official visit.
Yeah. They might have paid for a hotel room during a dead period. And I think they were already in the SEC.
Allegedly. Yeah. So
they were the one. They were the one that was already in the SEC out of Arkansas and Texas. So I don't know if that narrows it down for you, but
hey,
the kid calls me. I'm like, it's like dead period. He's like, I'm like, hey man, where you at? He's like, oh, I'm in Arkansas. I'm eating dinner with one of the coaches. I'm like, what? It's a dead period.
Allegedly. Yeah. You do know my business has to be certified by the NCAA, right?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm good for a year though. I got it certified. So I'm good for another year.
Mine does too. Until next Tuesday or whatever it is, they shut it down.
Yeah. But the tampering portal. Once the NCAA starts handling the tampering portal, I'll tell you that you probably need to be worried. As of right now, I think you're pretty far down the food chain.
Yeah, I don't think they're worried about me. I just
that's mission impossible right there. Not happening.
I don't. We talk all the time, obviously, but I don't understand. It's very. And it's I will tell you this, it's a credit to the culture that he's built there, but that's really the only thing you got holding these kids at home is to keep them from listening is the culture and the special thing that you have going on. And if you have a bad culture at a group of 5 school, I mean, it's one phone call away and your ass is out.
Yeah, you're toast.
And it is at every level. I think Power 5, Group of 5, FCS. And it doesn't mean we won't ever lose kids that we don't want to lose, but I do think at the end of the day, if the kids in your program know you genuinely care about them, know that you're going to sacrifice to help give them every opportunity to be successful, and that you put them before yourself. I'm not saying you're not going to lose any players. You're going to lose players still everywhere, but I think it's going to maybe give you a better chance of keeping people. Yeah, gives you a greater opportunity. Yeah, and at the end of the day, you know, look, we're in the front end of transfer portal and NIL, right? And like whoever thought let's pass both of those at the same time was they
really
were a
smart guy,
right?
really intelligent human being.
Correct. Like let's just open these two things up all of a sudden at the same time and see what happens. But I do think
I hold my beer. Watch this.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is brilliant. Like this is.
I got an idea. Let's
I think
sport up in 2 minutes.
We're all really like on a reality TV show doing this crap. We got nobody's told us. Like it's like let's just video what's going on in their building after we open up these 2 rules and we'll make a reality show on it. But the thing that they still haven't, like we're still early in NIL, right? It's about to be tax season here in a couple weeks.
Sure is. My accountant was calling me while I was doing it a minute ago.
That's going to be real when like kids got a check and they got no money left in the bank to pay the taxes on the check they got.
Yeah,
like that's.
Oh, it's absolutely a real thing. It is, and it is coming in the next 2 months
somewhere. Like around, to be exact, about I don't know, 1 month and 30 days.
Yeah.
No,
it's a month. You're right. No, that's a piece that I'm like, and I know everybody's doing education and all, but still, like, you can't manage somebody's bank account for them. And you know, the tax part of this is, what are they going to do? Like, I don't know. I don't want to think about it. Luckily, we have NIL here. We don't have let's come play quarterback at Troy for $7 million NIL though. So I've got a little bit easier.
How much a 45-year-old donk wide receiver? How much would you give him for NIL?
$0.
Oh, absolutely! I couldn't get a Coke or anything. I could get nothing out of it.
I'll give you a Coke. Yeah, I'll give you a Coke. But no dollars though.
No dollars. Okay, I guess.
No.
But dude, I appreciate. I know, Neal, you got anything else?
No, I appreciate the time, John. That was awesome. Great catching up with you.
Dude, you're a stud. You know how much I love you. I can't. I'm so excited that I know I tell people this all the time privately, but I'll do it publicly. I'm so happy that you're there where I went to school and getting it turned back the way it used to be, and the mentality that you bring back in the culture and the toughness that's what that place is all about. And so, on behalf of all of the former players and alumni, dude, you got it going, man. So we're happy for you.
I appreciate y'all having me. It's always good catching up. And look, I'm so honored to be here. Like this is a football place. Like, you know, some places like act like they care about football. Some people, they show you they care about football. You know, like we played Army this year. Outside my window, we had 31,000 people here. Like that don't happen everywhere. And so it's a fun place to coach. We got great kids. This is a cool program. But appreciate y'all having me, and hopefully, when the NCAA shuts down, we'll go into the N'Kobe Dean story.
All right, John. Thanks for the time.
See y'all.
I'll holler at you later on.
See you, man.
Well, it automatically, when you hung it up, automatically went back.
Automatic, but I had to hit a couple buttons.
Can I tell you something?
Look at your boy. Huh?
I'm so proud of you right now.
I know. I'm kind of. If I'm honest, I'm a little proud of myself.
I'm being serious. The people don't get to see this side of you. Okay. I
lost some sleep over this last night. Yeah. I woke up a couple times and said, "Okay, now if I hit that button, what's going to happen?"
Yeah, dude, I'm so proud of you, man. Look, I mean, think about how far we have come. Well, I mean, we've had the Troy trip, we had the whole Cole Kublik phone scenario,
Oh God, I forgot about that.
we had the Boise, all that stuff, and you got the new setup. We're like, hey, can we do this? And we're like, and we tried it, and I just want. It's my fault. Okay, I'm gonna take accountability here. You and I tested this one Thursday afternoon or whatever it was. We tested this a couple weeks ago, and your fucking camera Monday night, and your camera shut down the next day. So you have come a long way. I am proud of my man's production ability. Look at you.
I appreciate that.
So exciting.
Hey, I want to thank our friends at Walk-Ons, by the way. They put everything they've got into bringing you game day with the taste of Louisiana. Dig into their mouth-watering, made-from-scratch Louisiana cuisine like po' boys, gumbo, voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers and fresh salads, all in front of 70-plus TVs, 40-plus ice-cold beers on tap. Check out your Walk-Ons wherever you are, but especially if you're here in Oxford or if you're in the Jackson area, stop in Ridgeland and tell them how much you appreciate them sponsoring this show. We're also brought to you by our friends Comer at Comer Heating and Air and Southern Air Conditioning and Heating, different names, same great products and services. If you live in Oxford, Tupelo, Batesville, the surrounding area, call Comer 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, or the surrounding area, call the people at Southern 662-429-4429.
Dude, that was awesome. I enjoy the shit out of him, and
he's terrific. I mean, he I wouldn't say this with him on because it would put him in a spot that would be completely unfair. But he will be coaching in the SEC or Big Ten in the not too terribly distant future,
sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
he's got, and
he will be on people's very short list as early as
this year. Yeah, he the thing that I love about him is what you saw right there. That's him.
Yeah.
He never changes who he is. He's real. He's a guy's guy. We talk, and here's the thing is like, we're friends, right? But at the same time, I understand he's a head coach. He's got shit to do and all that stuff. Like, no matter when you call him, dude, he's answered the phone on the freaking practice field. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't change. You know what I'm saying? He is who he is. He had, and I didn't want to bring it. He brought it up. Wasn't going to bring it up. One of the reasons that we had to back it, we were going to start 2:15. He was like, "Hey, he's having a changing coordinators. This all happened last night.
His defensive coordinator left
to go to Tulane.
Yeah.
All this happened all of a sudden last night out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. He knew it was going on this weekend, but thought he was going to be able to keep him. And so he was having to make some phone calls and stuff. And so instead of, a guy, he's like, "Hey, look, I told you I was coming on. I'm coming on." I was like, "Dude, we'll figure something. Dude, I told you I'm coming on. I'm coming on." And like, how many head coaches would do that?
Not many.
You've been in this business long enough.
Not many.
When a guy's trying to hire a defensive coordinator, and for him to say, "Hey, he literally said, "Hey, is there any way we can bump it back?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." He's like, "Dude, I was like, "Dude, if you got to go handle that, we'll figure something out. We can kick it another day." He's like, "No, I told you I was coming on. I'm coming on." And that's awesome.
Yeah, he's terrific. And all the stuff about culture.
It comes from the top.
It does. And it's in today's college football. Like we were talking earlier about college basketball and stuff. Here's where coaches matter. Okay.
Yep, I agree.
Here's where coaches matter is it's culture.
Yep.
Like I told you that yesterday about you called and you were like, "Hey, Alabama." I'm like, "I'm just telling you, man, I got a feeling about Tennessee." And the feeling was I've watched that team a bunch. And Missouri got them. They were a little lax against Missouri. They're a veteran team. Barnes has coached a long time. People do that second round, Rick, and it's bullshit. It's unfair. The tournament is so damned arbitrary. But what I knew about that Tennessee team was, I bet you Monday, Tuesday practices, not like nasty. I just bet you they were locked in.
Yeah, mental readjustments.
Well, and you didn't have to like yell at them. Yeah. They knew.
You don't have to pull teeth in that game.
Yeah, and they knew, and Bama was coming in with the one by them, and I just said, be careful, man, because I got a feeling that's going to be a proud basketball team.
And it was.
And you get that night in Mobile, the one thing that really struck me that night was how tough those two teams were. I mean, that game was real.
Yeah.
I mean, and that was two coaches that like each other, and are friends and stuff. And
that's a weird deal because they like each other, and it's a big rivalry.
It's a big rivalry,
and they legit like to hang out, and we're all friends.
That was a real deal.
That was hard for me.
Well, I told you. Well, I told you that night. I mean, I said both of these guys are coaching Power 5 like really soon,
sooner than later.
Yeah.
So,
all right. We've been brought to you by Reign Total Body Fuel. 300 milligrams of natural caffeine, BCAAs, electrolytes, zero sugar. It's got what you need to push the limits, achieve your goals. Make sure you check them out on Instagram at Reign Body Fuel, and then more importantly, go find you some of this tropical storm.
You a fan, huh?
Stuff. Yeah, it's good. Really good.
I do too. I mean, I drank mine in literally like 10 minutes. I was after it.
It was really good.
So
we'll be back on Monday. We'll talk about something. I don't know.
Tiger wins. Tiger's gonna be winning the Genesis.
Okay, we'll talk
Daytona
about
500.
Yeah, we'll catch up on
little
some
USC.
Stuff. Thanks to everybody for being in the stream with us. And again, one more time, thanks so much to Troy coach Jon Sumrall for his time today. Have a great weekend. Be safe out there, and we will talk to you again on Monday. Take care.